Imagine a young adult in a crowded cafe, surrounded by chatter, laughter, and movement. Yet, despite this physical proximity to people, she feels profoundly alone. Her gaze fixes on her phone screen. Her thumb scrolls endlessly. Social media feeds display friends, acquaintances, even strangers who appear more confident, more successful, happier than she feels in her own skin. She pauses at a photograph. A fleeting smile appears, then vanishes. This is the paradox of our era. The more connected we are digitally, the more disconnected we can feel emotionally. We live in an age where identity is not simply discovered but increasingly constructed, curated, and performed for others to see. This shift has profound psychological consequences. Today, we will explore why Gen Z, those born between the mid-1990s and early 2010s, faces a unique identity crisis and the profound social, emotional, and cognitive effects of living in a hyperconnected world. What if the more connected we become, the more lost we feel? Historically, identity formation was primarily internal. People discovered who they were through lived experience, reflection, and social interactions in relatively small communities. Adolescents and young adults had clear reference points: family, school, local culture, and personal interests. Today, identity is increasingly externalized. Social media, professional networking platforms, and global connectivity allow individuals to create multiple versions of themselves: the authentic self, the curated online persona, and the aspirational or idealized self. This fragmentation can cause a profound psychological strain, creating tension between who we truly are and who we present to the world. Research in developmental psychology suggests that this fragmentation correlates with increased anxiety, depressive symptoms, and difficulties with self-concept in adolescents and young adults. When identity is mediated by likes, comments, and external validation, the internal compass of self becomes destabilized. Cognitive scientists describe this as identity overload, a state where the brain struggles to integrate multiple, sometimes conflicting, representations of the self. Key concept: identity is no longer discovered, it is curated and performed. We can conceptualize modern identity as comprising three main selves. The real self, who you are offline, in private, when no one is observing. The online self, curated for public consumption, often polished to meet perceived social standards. The ideal self, the aspirational person we hope or imagine ourselves to become. While these three selves may coexist harmoniously in some individuals, for many, the disconnect between them produces confusion, stress, and emotional instability. When what we project online conflicts with our internal sense of self, the result is often cognitive dissonance, a psychological state in which contradictory beliefs or behaviors generate tension and discomfort. Clinical research indicates that prolonged exposure to this dissonance can increase the risk of anxiety disorders, depression, and even psychosomatic symptoms such as headaches, insomnia, and gastrointestinal stress. Reflection question: when was the last time you felt your online self perfectly matched your inner self? Managing multiple identities simultaneously comes at a cognitive cost. Each social platform, each interaction, each post represents a decision. Should you post this photo? Will people like it? How will it be interpreted? Should you compare your post to others? Psychologists refer to this as executive function overload. The brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, attention, and self-regulation, becomes taxed under continuous online engagement. More versions of you equate to more mental effort, which often leads to fatigue, indecision, and reduced problem-solving ability. Neuroscientists have also shown that fragmented attention and constant monitoring of social cues elevate cortisol levels, contributing to chronic stress and emotional instability. In extreme cases, individuals experience burnout symptoms similar to those observed in high-pressure professional environments. Insight: fragmented identity equals more mental stress. More stress equals greater vulnerability to anxiety and depression. Social media functions as a mirror, but a distorted one. You do not merely observe yourself, you constantly compare yourself to the curated successes, achievements, and lifestyles of others. Studies on social comparison theory indicate that upward social comparisons, comparing oneself to someone perceived as better off, can trigger feelings of inadequacy, envy, and low self-esteem. Young adults who engage in frequent social media comparison are more likely to report depressive symptoms, body dissatisfaction, and overall lower life satisfaction. You are measuring your life against illusions. Even brief daily exposure to highly curated social media content can have measurable psychological effects. Brain imaging studies suggest that exposure to perceived social hierarchies online activates the same neural pathways as physical threats, causing stress, vigilance, and heightened sensitivity to social evaluation. The cycle is simple but powerful. See content online, compare yourself to it, feel inadequate or anxious, scroll further for distraction and reassurance. This comparison loop becomes unconscious. Most users are unaware of how often they evaluate their self-worth against digital images, status updates, and seemingly perfect lives. Over time, this unconscious loop reinforces negative self-perception and fosters dependency on external validation. Social media transforms personal expression into a performance. Posts are carefully curated not for personal meaning but for impact. Likes, shares, and comments become measures of social worth. Behavioral psychology describes this as operant conditioning. Intermittent reinforcement, the unpredictable timing of likes, comments, and shares, creates a strong motivational pull. Young adults learn to repeat behaviors that yield social rewards, often at the expense of authentic self-expression. Insight: people stop being real and start being strategic. Gradually, individuals lose touch with their authentic selves. Preferences, beliefs, and interests become externalized. They exist more as social signals than genuine convictions. This loss of authenticity is linked to depressive symptoms, low self-esteem, and decreased life satisfaction. Reflection: what parts of yourself do you keep hidden online, and why? For Gen Z, attention is closely tied to identity. Being unseen, unliked, or unnoticed often feels like existential erasure. Studies show that reduced engagement on social platforms can provoke feelings of loneliness, invisibility, and social exclusion, which correlate strongly with depressive symptoms. Insight: in a world of attention, being unseen feels like being nothing. Every like, comment, or share triggers a dopamine response in the brain's reward system. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter associated with motivation, pleasure, and reinforcement learning. The problem? Dopamine responses are transient. Once the effect fades, the brain craves more. This creates a feedback loop, the constant chase for digital approval. Over time, individuals become increasingly dependent on social validation for emotional regulation. Heavy social media users exhibit higher rates of anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. Psychological research links these outcomes to two main mechanisms. Social comparison, continuous evaluation of oneself against curated portrayals of others. Validation dependency, emotional well-being becomes contingent on external feedback. Meta-analyses reveal that adolescents who spend more than 3 hours daily on social media are 1.5 times more likely to experience depressive symptoms compared to peers with lower usage. Emotional volatility, irritability, and mood swings are common outcomes. Key takeaway: externalized identity and online validation undermine emotional resilience. Gen Z has unprecedented freedom to experiment, create, and reinvent themselves. But freedom without structure creates confusion. Infinite choices, from career paths to personal branding to lifestyle decisions, overwhelm cognitive resources. Insight: infinite choice creates infinite confusion. Decision-making research indicates that choice overload reduces satisfaction with outcomes, delays action, and increases cognitive fatigue. Constantly navigating options, from career to education to personal branding, results in decision fatigue. This depletes mental energy, increases procrastination, and can exacerbate anxiety and depressive tendencies. Chronic decision fatigue is linked to higher cortisol levels, poor sleep, and impaired executive function. Reflection: how many decisions do you make daily without conscious awareness, and how does it affect your mood? Earlier generations had structured paths, fewer career options, social expectations, and cultural frameworks. Gen Z faces unlimited possibilities, but without guiding structures, directionless freedom can feel chaotic. Insight: freedom without direction becomes a source of stress rather than empowerment. Even after consuming endless content, young adults report feeling empty, unfulfilled, and mentally cluttered. Researchers term this phenomenon digital overstimulation, where constant input paradoxically produces cognitive fatigue and emotional emptiness. Viral line: full mind, empty feeling. Eventually, the cycle becomes unsustainable. Many young adults realize, this isn't working. This recognition is the catalyst for self-reflection and transformation. Reflection: when did you last pause to question whether your online habits align with your true self? Rebuilding identity begins with self-awareness. Noticing habits, identifying triggers, reflecting on emotional reactions. Research shows that mindfulness practices, journaling, and structured reflection improve self-concept clarity, reduce rumination, and decrease depressive symptoms. Reducing unnecessary scrolling, disabling notifications, and taking intentional breaks from social media can restore cognitive bandwidth and emotional stability. Insight: attention is the currency of identity. Controlling it restores agency. As digital noise decreases, individuals rediscover authentic interests, values, and aspirations. Simple practices, like spending time alone or engaging in offline hobbies, foster clarity and personal growth. Reflection: what do you actually want when no one is watching? Focusing on values, goals, and meaningful actions allows a coherent sense of self to emerge. Psychological research confirms that purpose-driven behavior improves well-being, resilience, and life satisfaction. Processing experiences slowly and reacting less impulsively allows emotional regulation to recover. Cognitive behavioral studies indicate that delayed reaction strategies reduce emotional volatility and enhance long-term resilience. Shifting focus from instant validation to long-term goals strengthens self-identity. Delayed gratification and self-regulated planning improve executive function and life satisfaction. Power statement: you don't need attention, you need direction. The strongest young adults will be those who know themselves, control their attention, resist comparison. Mastery of these skills predicts both psychological resilience and practical success in a hyper-connected, hyper-competitive environment. Digital saturation will not slow down. Life will become faster, more interconnected, and more competitive. The path to stability, clarity, and identity is internal: awareness, reflection, and self-directed action. Final thought: you don't find yourself in the noise, you find yourself in the silence.